Hello, friends. Welcome back to the channel. I am Dale, and I was about to get started on reading The Body Keeps the Score, but I have an app on my phone that's called The Patterns, and it's like an astrology app. And I had made a tarot video this morning where I was talking about having this sensation of being unanchored and the energy feeling very different today than it did yesterday. Because I woke up and this you know, I would say I could tell you what my feelings were as if I take responsibility for those feelings. And that's usually what we do. We're like supposed to take responsibility for our feelings so that we can act accordingly to them. But I want to let you know that you are just like this fluctuating thing that senses the energies that are moving around you. And so, though I don't pay attention to the notifications that my app gives me every day, today I happened to notice like one of the statements of what it was saying, and that drew in my attention. So I was reading it, and I wanted to read it to you because I want you to know that it's it's highly beneficial to find things outside of yourself to explain what's going on inside of you or to find resonance with it. It's like uncomfortably hot outside, and so I'm sitting inside in a room that does not have air conditioning, so I have the fan on in here. So that's why it's so windy in the house. But look at this cool picture that I got for my kids and I, which is like Stranger Things. Hopefully you can tell. If I tell you that it's Stranger Things, hopefully you can see why. It's like the Demogorgon cloud thing up in the sky. But anyway, and also when I was reading yesterday, I was like having a hard time finishing up the chapter because my body gets to this point where, okay, I've sat still long enough. Now I need to move on to something else. And so I was like wiggling and shaking all over the place and I had to stand up. And so I brought my like front porch rocking chair into the house so I can like rock like a grandma while I'm reading. And that's kind of like the essence of what my personality is. I'm very much just kind of like um, the things that I enjoy doing are things that maybe somebody's grandmother would do. Like I was working on sewing projects today because these are things I've been wanting to work on. The thing that I talked about in my video about working on was to paint today. That was the thing that I had decided on in that moment that I was going to do because I was sort of spinning in this energy of a feeling of like I am so unproductive. I am so non-purposeful. And yesterday was like such a beautiful day. I had a great day. So I was really surprised at the way that I was feeling so like the gears were grinding to a halt or that just something didn't feel right today. And so when I read this, and that's kind of like the same thing that I was getting through the readings of the tarot readings when I was doing it. And that's what we're looking for, I think, in life is some sort of consistency. And that's what I've always been looking for. And the more that I go into the world of my own inner self, the more that I see it's being perfectly like reflected in the world, in the things in the environments around me, of like the things that speak to me. So I don't always feel like I don't know what's going on anymore. Okay, so what I want to do is open it up to the information for today. And then I really encourage you, it doesn't matter if you are like interested in astrology or anything, but I would encourage you to at least like look this app up, maybe download it because it's a free app. You can pay for it too because what it's supposed to do is help you form your own social networks of people who are similar to you. You know, like they'll run these bonds to see astrologically how you guys add up, you know, whether it be friends or partnerships or whatever. But I wasn't into it for that. I was into it because it was recommended for um like daily astrology updates that are free. So it's very insightful, the value of it that it provides. It's like I would almost like to pay for the app at some point, but I don't really care to use it that much because there's so many good resources all over the place now. If you want information on something, you can spend 5 minutes on your phone looking something up and you knew 100% more than you did before, okay? And you don't have to learn any more than that unless you choose to. But I'm telling you, in this world of information, don't just sit back and like wonder about things. Actually find out if they exist. Like if you're wondering, oh, does this exist? Or like, oh, what is that thing that I had learned about? I don't remember the like accurate information of it, you know? So anyway, let me pause it, open this up, and I'll get to reading. Okay. So for July 6th, they're talking about the full moon, which is on January, or I'm sorry, July 10th. And it's a full moon in Capricorn, which is my sun sign. And what I noticed at this time last year was that there was two full moons in Capricorn because sometimes that can happen. It's a blue moon. Well, not necessarily. It's a blue moon if two full moons happen in one month. But just sometimes the way that everything is aligned, I think for one zodiac sign per year, there are two full moons in that sign, and it happened to be Capricorn last year. And it seemed like there was this highly energized shift that started happening of like where I've always kind of known in the back of my mind that these things were going to start happening in my 40s, but not exactly when. It just gave me to know that just gave me the patience to like endure difficult things, even though I thought that I was always putting the right foot forward and putting in my best effort for those things. And it gave me inner peace, or at least like some sort of comfort while I was going through things that seemed very out of alignment for me. So anyway, this reminds me of like to think back about how much things have changed over the past year. Because even if I just think about how much the energy changed from yesterday to today, um, but like where my life is so like bountiful and so much more enjoyable now in the way that like my partner gives back to me and just like feeds my soul with this love and attention. And that's what I was getting yesterday. But it's like sometimes I feel like the astrological alignments will plunk you right back into a feeling that you had from the past, just as a reminder to be grateful for where you are and realize that change is always happening and it's not always comfortable, even though things seem like perfect around you, or things can be like chaotic around you and you can feel very at peace within, so it's just that we don't have control over all the things that are happening to us, but we can try to identify what's going on inside of us instead of being in denial of it and seeing where it pops up in reflection to us. And I was kind of like just relaxing and listening to one YouTube video, and then it like auto played onto the next one. And I was sort of like in a meditative rest state, like a nap. But so sometimes your ears close off to what you're actually hearing, but you're still absorbing it. But then my like my listening kind of jumped back in to where I could hear what I was listening to again. I went out of like my daydreaming space and back into the space of where I was paying attention. And like yesterday, I really got the sense that I wanted to read out all the zodiac signs based on this calendar that I got from my son, because he really happens to like to know about zodiac signs. He's 18 and he has Down syndrome, but there's something about it that he digs deep into it on his own, because I have like a huge book about it and he's learned a lot about it. And so that gives him some agency in the world in order to gain a sense of understanding of other people based on what their signs are, even if it's just like the minimal sun sign or whatever, which they say the most important ones to know are your moon sign, your Venus sign, your Mars, and your rising sign. And like my sun sign is Capricorn. My Mars and Venus, I believe, are both Capricorn. My rising sign is Sagittarius, and my moon sign is Leo. So it's it's just important. I don't know if you tend to get things that you want, and like when you put effort in, you get this reciprocal thing back, then maybe you don't need to know this stuff. But there's a lot of people out there in the world that feel like they've been like marching down the right path of like what they're supposed to be doing. Matter of fact, sometimes it feels like you're crawling down it. And it's just you just don't feel like it's being reciprocated back, like that same kind of effort is being reciprocated back in the rewards from that. And it's not like we're only doing things for rewards, but we're doing things for balance for sure. So let me get into this. So that they'll send you things daily, and sometimes it's like an audio portion. And if you pay for the app, then there's like it goes deeper into the conversation. So I'm just going to give you a little snippet because I'm not going to play the audio portion for you. So July 6th, full moon. July 6th is today, but the full moon is July 10th. This audio, oh, it's your manifesting month. This audio includes a chapter for each zodiac sign so you can understand how the energy of the full moon on July 10th affects you personally. And the reason why I was like reiterating about the calendar or iterating about the concept of like reading off the zodiac signs on the calendar was because first I thought it in my mind 2 days ago and yesterday. And then when I was like in this resting hypnotic phase of where my listening wasn't really active, but I wasn't fully asleep. And then my listening came back online. It was a woman who had been doing a live YouTube video. And what she was saying was that she was revamping a little PDF file that she sends to people for free, which is her breakdown and analysis of how each zodiac sign plays into your chart based on the houses. And I don't know enough about astrology to understand all that because as much as I've learned, there's still like blockages against learning, settling into you and becoming the it's getting to the point to where you could teach somebody else fluently, like that's when a student becomes a teacher is when they can teach it. So, I do have a big astrology book that I will read. Not the big, big one of all the astrology signs, but one where you can learn how to read charts and things like that. But it was this reiteration now 3 times because first I had the thought that I want to read about all the signs because we are all of them. We are all of them. And then this YouTube video was reiterating that. So I am going to try to go back to it because it was live. And so I'm like, I need to go back and check back in once it's been posted as like the not live video of it and try to find that PDF. Um, to print out or something because I would like to share that with you for the work that she did and maybe direct you to her. And then also, this app was doing the same thing where it broke down what was the audio that was given for today, broke down all the different signs. Okay. Because you have to realize that, yeah, everybody knows their sun sign, but that doesn't mean that that's all that you are. So this stuff plays into everything. All right, the audio includes a chapter for each zodiac sign so you can understand how the energy of the full moon on July 10th affects you personally. So let's see what else. July 6th, opening up. During this cycle, you could spend 100 hours or 10 hours trying to see things more clearly and get the same results. It's beyond your ability to solve right now. Instead of resisting, learn to embrace the momentary lack of control in your life. This experience is giving you a renewed vision for your life and the person you're becoming. Okay. And then it says to go deeper. Now, this is something, it's some sort of conjunction of like, now that's what I don't know astrology well enough to be able to tell you what this is, but if you look at it, let me see if you can see it right here. There's like the sign for Neptune, and then there's a sign for another something. And then it says IC, which I believe means in conjunction. So the phase goes from July 2nd to February 15th, July 2nd of 2024 to February 15th of 2026. So we're in this opening up phase. Now, I'm pretty sure that that's for everybody. I don't think that that's just like for me. I think that's the astrology of what's going on. The summary, your heart is meant to soften right now. Okay, I'm sorry. Your heart is meant to soften and your sensitivity to heighten right now. This cycle is making you less certain of how you define yourself. You may feel confused and unclear about your home life or sense of security. There could be a hunger to feel something more. You're being opened up to other ways of feeling at home. You've entered an incredible period of transformation that's activating your sense of self. Okay, I didn't think about this when I was reading it earlier today, but July 2nd of last year was when like that was the time frame around when these two moons in Capricorn were happening, the two full moons in Capricorn. So, and that's exactly what I was feeling like that there was something very realistically shifting in my life and there was all these signs that have meaning to me but maybe not to others and that was what was giving me this sense of security as it was starting. You've entered an incredible period of transformation that's activating your sense of self. This cycle is opening you up and dissolving your usual defenses, making you less certain of the person you are and how to define yourself. This can be incredibly inspiring or it can be very confusing, but your heart is meant to soften and your sensitivity heighten right now. You may feel confused or unclear about your home life on a bigger scale. You might question whether you feel at home inside yourself. It might feel like you're anchorless and free floating without grounding. And that's what I was talking about. Like how I felt this morning. It felt like I was just kind of like treading water, whereas yesterday I felt so secure in my environment, in myself, and my like partner and what we were doing for the night. And just, I felt so in a space of comfort. And then this morning I woke up feeling like I was just like out in a tundra or something, you know? It's just like to look around within yourself and feel like you have no idea where you are. And there's goodness in that, right? There's goodness in that because at least you're not in the midst of a storm. But anyway, so yeah, so I had mentioned that in my reading. So what I'll try to figure out is which reading it was and then link it to this video. So if you're feeling the same way, it can give us some sort of like double confirmation that don't like get too up in your head about it or feel like you're a failure for something. Just realize that it's just an energetic pattern that is moving through and it's going to feel some kind of way as it moves through you. Okay. You're intended to embrace your idealism right now and let your boundaries break down. So go into your fantasy land. You might have the urge to connect in ways you would normally be closed off to, or have an experience that's mystical and beyond your ordinary senses. There's a hunger to feel something more. If your life feels truly meaningful and in service to something greater, you'll find your efforts are supported and new opportunities are opening up. And that's what I feel. That's what I feel I'm directing my energy into now is something greater and a purpose that I had never really focused on and distilled down into what I'm doing. Instead, it just sort of like floats around in the soup of everything else that is me. But I have really been concentrating my efforts into doing this thing that seems purposeful because I feel aligned with it, but yet I always have this feeling of something that's like shaking inside of me of like, you need to work on this thing. You're not doing enough yet. And there's goodness in having that because what I said I was going to do is paint, but what I actually did so far was like work on some sewing stuff. I made some cookie dough. I was not planning on that at all, but I like the idea of keeping cookie dough like in the freezer so that you can have homemade cookies at any time. But I was doing them with breaking tradition because I wanted to make chocolate chip cookies, but it's like I want something to change from tradition. And there's things that I like. There's like flavors and seasonings and textures and concepts that I like of adding into tradition because they make it more complex in a beautiful way. All right. So when I was making these, what would be chocolate chip cookies, um, I had like tripled the recipe. So it gave me more flexibility in what I had to add for like the fat ingredients, like butter. It was supposed to just be butter. And I was making it from my original recipe book, my original cookbook that I had gotten when I was a kid. Let me just pause and show that to you. Okay. This is it. This is like, I think it's from 1987. Let me see. Hang on, I'll pause it. Okay. 1987 from General Mills. This was one of those things that like, do you remember when these companies used to send you free things if you would send in a box top or there was like a little thing on the back of a package of flour where you could give your information and they would send you like this. That's how I got this. Now, this is I have always said that I started cooking when I was 5 years old. And in my mind, that doesn't seem right. That sounds too young because I think about my kids when they were five. But I've always sort of been like a 40-year-old, no matter how old I was. And so it is true. This was from 1987. So I was four at that time. But I remember like cooking from it when I was five. And I remember I used to, there was this one particular little pot that was yellow. And I would put my magnetic alphabets, right? Like the alphabet magnets that kids would have. I would put them in the pot and I would stir it around like soup. And I just so specifically remember that sitting on the ground doing that with my like corduroy pants on. So anyway, I got the recipe from this book. And so I will show it to you because it's so funny to look at recipes from the past because of like the different times of where nutrition is at. Like when they went into using margarine, right? That's, I think they say 2/3 of a cup of margarine or butter softened. And so you'll see that throughout, so it's like, oh, now in a world that I sort of know better what I like, and I went to culinary school for pastry arts and baking because I couldn't stand it. And I said in one of my previous videos yesterday that I used to do things, or that I do things frequently to set myself up for failure. Oh, hang on. I didn't put this back on. So maybe you could hear me, maybe you couldn't. I do things to set myself up for failure because that's what brings me closer to success in those things, to where I can feel comfortable outside of my current comfort zone. Okay. So I know that that sounds backwards, but that's kind of how life is. It's like this, it's like, a mirror is like your reverse image sort of yourself. There's actually more science going into that than it seems. But so now I was adapting that that first cookbook that I got from childhood with the things that I wanted to taste in the cookies, or the textures that I wanted. So I had some sesame tahini, okay, which is like ground sesame seeds and oil. Um and I hadn't used it for its original intention, so I had been using it for cooking. So I still had some, and I didn't have 2 cups of butter softened at room temperature. I only had 1 cup. So what I did was I used the 1 cup of room temperature butter, and then a half a cup of like cold butter. And then I added in extra fats of what I wanted, of what I thought it would give it a different texture and a different flavor. So I added some of the tahini and some cream cheese. Why? I just felt like doing it. It's because I had little bits of this stuff left. And because if I'm not cooking for the kids, then the food will just kind of like sit around for so much longer because I'm not using it. So I try to make sure that I go through and use all the things that I purchased, because that's the best investment. If you invested in something, you should be using it. All right. Don't just have stuff sitting around all the time. That was an idea that you thought would be a good idea, but then you never actually get into it. So find some inspiration. And my inspiration was to start painting today. That's what I said I was going to do. I still haven't done it yet, but I'm not mad at myself. I did all these other things that are like still inspiring me to keep going. What I want to do is break up the rest of the day that I have into 15-minute segments, and just go to all the things, invest 15 minutes into all the things that I want to do. Even if it takes me 15 minutes to like set up the thing that I'm doing, and I don't actually get down to it, then I can choose to give myself another 15 minutes, or it's set up for the next time that I invest 15 minutes in it tomorrow, okay, or later. There's no rules in life. You can form your own rules in the moment, okay? But if you're always changing the rules just based on what makes you most comfortable, then you're never moving anywhere, okay? So those are not great rules to follow. So let me just get back to reading this and finish this up. um, if your life feels truly meaningful and you're in service to something greater, you'll find your efforts are supported and new opportunities are opening up. And I'm putting in my own investment to open up opportunities by putting stuff on this channel and my other channel, and I will be morphing them into other channels that are just specifically those things. Because when you don't have a consistent following and a consistent viewer base, then the channel does not grow. And the whole point of me doing this is so I can completely invest in the life that I feel most comfortable in, which is the life of like my home, my surroundings, my interests, and that I can transition that into this world that we have now, where we are so lucky. This is where the matriarchy is coming back, in the sense of the energy of a matriarchy, of where we can define ourselves by how we want, and we can make money those ways, like Etsy and YouTube. The fact that anybody can just create videos just the same way that I am. And if you have enough in the game, right? It's like, if you have the right amount of viewers or content or whatever, you just hit the market at the right time, you can grow really fast, or you can grow slowly and just keep doing it. And even if it's not like the thing that makes you a bunch of money, there's no one thing that makes you a bunch of money. There's just a bunch of little things that you do throughout a lifetime Because when you make more money, you spend it on all kinds of other things that you don't really need. So when you find your happiness, when that is the money that you're looking for, like the abundance of happiness and just a security within who you are and what you're doing and what you're comfortable in, then the money that is reciprocal for that energy comes into you. And then you don't feel out of alignment with it. As a matter of fact, when you receive money doing the thing that you love, you use that money so efficiently. You're not just like holding on to it and trying to think about just the best investment for it. The best investment is to keep recycling that money into things that you care about by building businesses, building community enterprises that help your community, starting little small schools in your community. I don't know how to do all that stuff, but I guarantee you there are people who do. You just try it. Just try it. You know, there's no better way to rebuild the world of caring for others than caring for children in your own home as long as you are of a healthy mind and body. Okay. If you got unresolved issues, please don't be a babysitter. We've had to deal with that. All right. Anyway, if you've become lost in a life that is superficial and that isn't right for you, that will be made clear. If you're feeling stuck or unhappy, then you might feel disillusioned and uncommitted to the path that you're on. And that's how I've like always felt. Even this path currently, it's like I still don't see um I still don't really see a place of like where I am most comfortable, but that is the point of investing in the things that I've been wanting to do and that I already spent money on, like fabric and stuff like that, painting and canvas, paint and canvas and all this other stuff. And then in the process of utilizing that investment that I already have, it it sort of magnetizes all the skills and concentrates them down in order to help me see what might be something that is repeatable, or you don't have to like stay in the same business forever. Just do something while you feel passionate about doing it. And then if you don't feel passionate about it, step out of the game. Okay. Step out of the game, do something else. You create a space for somebody else who is passionate about it again. That's what I wish people would do out in the working world when they've aged out of that job because they're not excited about it anymore. I wish they would step out and let somebody else move into that space and that they go and find another job. Okay. So, this energy is initiating real changes, altering the direction of your life, altering the direction your life will take. You're being opened up to other ways of finding a sense of security, aligning you with how you're intended to feel most at home. Okay. And this is going on until February 15th. So it's like right after um, Valentine's Day next year. And once something shifts, it's not like on the next day everything is perfect. It's that there's this waxing and waning phase of it, right? A shadow period that they have that because if things just drastically change from one day to the next, we wouldn't really know how to exist in those spaces. It takes us time. It's like we're just like a fruit on a tree, right? We take time to ripen. Okay. Because this pattern obscures how you understand yourself. It can feel confusing, but out of this uncertainty, you're more open to rethink your priorities and imagine new possibilities for your future, which is exactly how I ended up investing my time today based on the feelings of discomfort that I was having this morning of just like being adrift. This influence is leading you to think about a life that allows you to tap into your higher ideals and spiritual values. There's something intoxicating about this dynamic, not toxic, intoxicating. It's steering you away from taking the conventional path or pursuing materialistic goals. Right now, you'll be pushed to shed old habits, creating space for something new. If you feel limited in some way, this energy will help you see beyond your blocks. It may be difficult to do the practical things or get through the day to day. Things you normally care about may seem irrelevant now. Don't force things to happen. Any attempts to control what you're feeling will leave you spinning your wheels. Because of this, it may be difficult to focus on practical matters, including work. So scale back on important projects and put off essential decisions. Okay. Sometimes we need permission outside of ourselves to do that. And then sometimes we need a little push from outside of ourselves to say, okay, that phase has passed. And now I can see that you're getting uncomfortable in your resting phase. And now you need to move back in to your active phase. You could spend 100 hours or 10 hours trying to see things more clearly and get the same results. It's beyond your ability to solve right now. Instead of resisting, learn to embrace the momentary lack of control in your life. In the long run, this time will give you a new perspective and make you less focused on traditional ideas of success the material world are always trying to achieve. Because where do we get the ideas of what achievement is supposed to be? It like comes from the material world, okay? So you have to be comfortable with going away from the material world. The only place to go is inside of yourself. And you can try to you can try to like increase your focus by doing things like going into a salt room. I'm trying to think of what they're called. They have like these salt salt caves that have now become kind of common. Like you can probably find it no matter where you are in the country. There's probably one within like an hour of you, I'm sure. So there's like salt caves. There's just going out in nature and walking around. There is going to be in the water. In the water is one of the greatest things to help you move stagnant energy. It's like taking a bath. If you have any kind of water around you, even if it's a pool because it's summer right now, it's not the healthiest form of water, but it will just help you to move through some stuff without you having to try so hard to do it. This experience is giving you a renewed vision for your life and the person you are becoming. Okay. And that's the end of that. So I just wanted to give you that information to say that if you're feeling those things inside, then welcome to the party. We are all here with you, okay? And there's nothing wrong with you for feeling those things. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Now, what do you do with that? That is what you get to choose. You have permission to feel exactly what you're feeling because you have no other option. You can't the only thing that you can do is be in resistance to the way that you feel. Okay. So you might as well just accept the way that you're feeling and then do something with that energy. That's the only thing that emotions are there for. It's to put energy into motion, into something for you. Okay. This life is all about you. You are supposed to be selfish. And no matter what you're doing, you are being selfish because you're serving whatever things that are inside of your mind that are best for you based on the way that you see the world. Even if what you think is best for you is serving others and helping others, it's for some it's like trying to quench the thirst of your who you are, of your purpose. Okay. So be selfish. Okay. Just choose how to do it in a way that you're not hurting others and you're at least being open and softer to the feedback of others when you're taking action in this world. Okay. I love you. I will come back and I will read The Body Keeps the Score. All right. Bye.